Welcome back to another edition of B4evaKool podcast. My name is Rex45. Chilling here tonight with the one and only Bobby Shakes. What's going on, Bobby?
I'm all right, just here in my underpants, just ready to talk some racing. You see me, I got my Ducati red in the back here.
Yeah, I see that. So you're team Ducati.
Right, you know that the only two bikes I love is Ducati and Harley Davidson. That's it.
Okay.
Everything else doesn't really have a culture for me.
Right, and is it because it's the twin kind of thing, or just because it's the culture, which is Ducati kind of is on one side, and the other side, Harley Davidson is on the other side. And plus, you're a big
Right,
Harley
it's just
guy.
the culture. I like Moto Guzzi too, but I just can't afford it.
Yeah.
No, is it Moto Guzzi? What's the expensive superbike?
No, that would be MV Augusta.
MV Augusta. Yeah, right.
And, oh man, I'm the one of troubles. There we go, much better. Sorry there. MV Augusta is the expensive one. Obviously, Ducati is the expensive one, the Panigale, the special versions of the Panigale and stuff like that. But no, I mean Harley is also expensive too. I mean,
right, Harley's very expensive.
You know, the culture is expensive. Bobby Shakes.
Very culture, very expensive. The culture is very expensive, man.
So,
very.
So I don't know what we do in a situation like that. Hopefully, well, I guess I can't. You have a Harley, I have Ducati, so I guess we can't really complain too much.
Right.
And
then the rest of them, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. And Team Ducati, because what a weekend, man.
Right. So last week we talked about who should get the factory seat, and I think it's been solidified that whoever gets my guy 93 deserves to get the factory seat. We talked about it last week. You weren't really on board. You're on board this week. Please explain what it takes to go from 14th to even get on the podium.
Well, I will say this before I explain. I don't know if I'm on board yet with Marquez. I think I'm leaning more towards Jorge Martin after this weekend. But Marquez has a very good case. And I don't, it's rare that you see a rider in MotoGP go from 14 to second, 14 to third place. He did it last round as well. I believe he was 13th to either third or second as well. And I don't know how many riders can do that, still have enough tire at the end to still put up a fight. And, Marquez did it on a soft rear tire. So, and the way I'm no expert, but, soft tire give you more grip, but don't last as long. Medium tire is a little bit harder, less grip in the beginning, but lasts longer. It's for longer race and so forth. And obviously all that stuff is dependent on temperature as well. The fact that Marquez was able to pass riders and not lose any time gave him that ability to, get on the podium, essentially. Because if he would have got held up for, a second and a half, he might have finished in fourth place, fifth place. You don't know. So for him to be able to do that on a new bike, around, I believe, 6, 7, one of them, and to be able to do that and when asked in the after the race, how was he able to modulate and manage his rear tire? And this is on Sunday, and he's like, I just looked at Pecco's data from Saturday, which Pecco Bagnaia crashed out on, but up until that point, he was managing his tire really well. And so, for a guy to be able to look at someone else's data, absorb that, and go out, I assume he must have practiced in the warm up to do the same thing. I got to assume, because what I'm saying, if you're copying someone's style, you got to practice a little bit, right? You can't just go out there and do it. And for him to do that is pretty impressive. So I can see why you are, I can see why you got your team Ducati now, not just team Marquez, and you're all in, because I don't know how many riders in MotoGP can do that on the caliber bikes that we have today.
So what you're saying is, you said that he didn't slow down. What does that mean?
It means that, he was able to come upon riders in the right space where he's able to, pick a different line and, take his line and not change his speed, for that lap. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know exactly what his times were, but he was passing people and he wasn't losing a half a second or a tenth here or anything like that. He was able to pass people and maintain that time. So the people in first place, second place, third place, they weren't really stretching him out. They weren't, as far as time wise, they weren't getting more time ahead. I mean, granted, and if the guy had a few more laps, it might have been a different story.
Right. So why didn't they stretch him out?
Because, when you're in, I mean, there's different strategies for people when they're in first place and second place and stuff like that. Usually when you get out in first place and you can, hold, say you can get a gap of a minute, minute and a half between the next rider behind you, right? Because that's all you really got to worry about is the rider behind you. That rider got to worry about the rider behind them and so forth, right? So if you can manage that gap, like if you pull out and you get a minute gap and, you don't need to go any faster than that, right? The only time you need to go faster than that is when the person behind you maybe, start to get closer, right? They may push one lap and they may get a couple, a quarter of a second on you or whatever the case may be. And, you may see that on your pit board. And then the next lap, okay, let me push that back and get that time back. And it's a tug of war, I guess, in a sense, because that goes back and forth because you're also managing the tires. So you can't just go, full gas, right? To catch the person, you have to be smart with it. And so because the race is so long, you have to really be good at managing your tire. And if you're a rider like Pecco or Jorge Martin or Marquez and some of these guys, when they get out front, they can manage the time really well. Vinales, we can throw some guys in there that can do that. And some other riders, obviously, with the right bike setup and the right track and temperature. There's other riders that can do it. It's rare that it does happen, and especially in certain tracks where passing isn't as easy.
Right, like, I want the viewers to understand this, right? When you're fighting for position, you automatically, everybody lose time, right? So if you're on 14th and you're fighting the gentleman in 13th, 12th, can't even do my subscription, but 14th, 13th, 12th, 11th, and 10th,
right?
Everybody's fighting you.
That's right.
The ability to not lose time and to podium just shows his greatness because everybody's fighting him. He had 13 people in front of him fighting him.
Right.
Now,
go ahead.
Now, would you think that it's always Team Ducati, right? Like everything's to the manufacturer. Do you believe that Martin would have not really stretched him and wanted him to gain space? Let's talk conspiracy theory here.
Well, I'll say this. Out of the three riders, Pecco Bagnaia, Jorge Martin, and Marquez. Marquez, and I said this last week or on the last show, if Rossi is the Michael Jordan, then I would say Marquez would be the Kobe Bryant, right? Kind of thing. And I think that when you have that kind of skill set, that kind of experience, like, people are looking at Pedro Acosta and it's kind of like, that was Marquez, right?
Right.
That was a young Marquez. Like, he came through and first rookie, he got all type of stats. You know what I mean? So for a guy like that to come in and do what he's done, man, like I said, if anybody can do it, he can do it. And That's the downside with the three riders, because I think if it was Bastianini, Martin, and Pecco, even though Pecco got 2 titles, at least they're kind of in the same class. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I'm pretty sure Jorge Martin and some of these other riders were, or maybe not Pecco, because he's VR46 Academy, was looking up to Marquez, especially the Spanish riders. You know what I'm saying? So to know that Marquez is behind you, it is like, when you got to go in Chicago and play the Bulls, or you got to go to the Lakers and play Kobe. You can't make any mistakes, and even if you don't make any mistakes, he's gonna try.
So what you think? What can we take away that's more impressive? The fact to go from 14th to 3rd, or to keep your pole position 1 and 2?
That's a good point, Shakes. What is more impressive? I think, is Pecco Bagnaia, after crashing out on the last lap of the sprint, to come back in the MotoGP race and win it. That is the most impressive thing, because some people choke on one day and they may take a few days to come back. And he came. I mean, look, nobody wants to crash, and to crash on the last lap, I think with like 5 turns to go. Come on.
It's heartbreaking.
You know what I'm saying? So that is the most impressive thing of the weekend. And it's also impressive that, there's no order to this really, but it's also impressive that, Jorge Martin he's really stepping up to the plate, because he finished 7th on Saturday, and then he finished 2nd on Sunday. And so, you know what I mean? So he's up, and it's easy for, and they are making mistakes, right? Because, when you're on the edge like that, it's real. You're always making a mistake. It's just whether it puts you on the ground or not. It's not like they're not making mistakes. You hear them tell you, I keep losing the front. I'm losing the front. I'm losing the front. We're looking like, I don't see it, right? But they know when they're about to lose the front. You know what I'm saying? So when you're on the limits like that, and to fight. So, but and so if I guess you want me to rate all 3, for Marc Marquez being on the Ducati bike only since January, and to been on the podium as much as he has been, it is just it's more impressive than what Pedro Acosta is doing right now. You know what I'm saying? And because we see Bezzecchi struggle. We see Di Antonio struggle on that bike. I don't know if Alex Marquez is struggling, but Alex Marquez is definitely he's finishing up behind Mark. And the only person that's not struggling on that 2023 bike is Marc Marquez. He is struggling too, but he's getting the results.
Learning curve.
Yeah, he's getting the results. So he's struggling and he's getting on the podium. So imagine when he's not struggling, what's going to happen. And that's the scary part, because
he was able to keep the front tire down with no wing.
Exactly. And he was able to ride that bike with one wing missing and still put it on the podium. So there's a shot that if he can get if he gets a good, I don't even think it matters if he gets a good feel at this point, because he's already getting on the podium. So I think in Marc Marquez's case, he just needs to keep getting on the podium and let the pressure bust pipe, as them say, to whoever else. Right? He just needs to keep. He doesn't need to win races. He's in 3rd place in the championship. You know what I'm saying? He's tied with Pecco, I believe, or maybe a few points difference there in the points.
Right, he's 25, 26, and 25.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, therefore, if I'm Marc Marquez, all I got to just keep showing up and doing what I'm doing. But I say that to say, once he has that bike figured out, like next year, the championship is probably going to be his next year, if not this year. You know what I'm saying? It's Martin to lose at this point, because Martin got the points. So all he has to do is manage them points until the end of the season right now. He doesn't.
He's up 26 right now.
Yeah. So which is Martin. He just got to manage the race. The rest of the season. You know what I'm saying? I think which means he has to finish on the podium. We already said he has to. He has to win. Pecco has to win to catch up. But Martin, he has to finish in front of Marc Marquez and Bagnaia uh, pretty much for the rest of the season to get that. Because if he doesn't finish in front of them, those guys are going to pass him. There's no way around it. And it looks like is that right now those are the three front runners. They're the most consistent ones right now, even with crashing out, even with Pecco crashing out and stuff like that, even with Marquez, qualifying bad and stuff like that. The only other person that's really fighting like that is Acosta. But I think his inexperience is starting to catch up with him because he's crashing out a little bit more now. But outside of that, those guys seem to be the most hungriest. I mean, don't get me wrong. Shout out to Aleix Espargaro for winning, who announced his retirement and for winning the sprint race and stuff like that. He rode a hell of a race. But you had three guys that crashed out, so it's one of those things as a rider. When you don't beat the person, the win is not the same as when you beat the person. You'll take it because you have to be there, you have to be in that moment, and all that stuff to pick up the pieces. But you like it when you beat the field.
I think the factory seats is. I think it's a no-brainer at this point.
You mean Jorge Martin?
Marquez.
We'll see.
I think the factory is. It has to be his.
I think after this past weekend, even though the way, that's a tough one because Jorge did finish second and Marquez was on the podium twice. I think it's going to go to Martin. I do believe it's going to go to Martin. I'll be shocked if it go to Marquez. And I think Bastianini, unfortunately, I think he lost the seat after this past weekend. And and it's horrible because it's a lot of I can't even imagine that kind of pressure. You know what I'm saying? Like every couple of years you're fighting for your seat or a seat or a ride. And and these guys have been doing this from they started in playing in MotoGP, World Superbike at the top level. So I really feel for Bastianini because you don't want to be sitting here thinking about like contract, and you out here trying to and you're riding at the limit. So I feel bad for him, but I think after this past weekend, it's really hard to sit here and say Ducati can give him a seat. Hopefully he'll stay in Ducati, but as a factory rider, I think factory riders like to go to factory seats. So. Right. If Martin gets it, I gotta assume, especially with Aleix now announcing that he's retiring, I gotta assume that Bastianini is probably one of the top riders. Now Vinales didn't have a good weekend, but I still think his seat is safe. But you never know. I'm not inside those rooms, man. So I'll say, but we'll see. We'll find out this weekend at Mugello because. You're saying Marquez. I'm saying Martin. We have a poll on YouTube right now asking who should get the factory seat. The majority of the people right now is saying Martin as well. So how
is that even fathomable? Right, we're watching Marquez do the unthinkable. Right, let's switch sports for a minute, right? Like the NBA right now, I will say it's LeBron's league. It's LeBron's league, right? You got to give it to him because he's the elder statesman.
Right.
It's kind of like when Kobe was in the league. We all knew that Kobe's career was dying out and you had to give it to LeBron.
Okay.
Right? But because Kobe was still in the league, you gave it to the elder statesman. It's Kobe's league. The minute Kobe retires, then it switches over to LeBron.
Right.
It's like when Jordan was in the league and you're watching Jordan fade away and you're like, all right, Kobe's the new thing, but we have an elder statesman. It's Jordan's league. I think if you're a true MotoGP fan, you have to give it to the elder statesman.
So what you're saying,
especially when you're watching them. Sorry for cut you.
No, go ahead. I'll wait.
We have 2 years before the switch. He only has 2 years left. You have to let him ride out in the sunset.
I don't agree with that because all those other riders don't agree with that. And
Right, and they shouldn't, because their riders also, and like you said, everybody's riding on the edge.
Right.
So if everybody's riding on the edge, there's seconds. If you look at the standings, it's just seconds between each one.
Yeah,
it's not like minutes.
No.
We're talking seconds.
No time is. I think we can go about this all day and night. As far as if he should get it or not, but I it's hard. He has a compelling argument because he's been on the podium and he's doing really well. But I think for Marquez, he can still go to a Pramac. Well, it depends on who is going to stay with Ducati for 2025. But I suspect Marquez is going to stay with Ducati for 2025. And even if he went with Pramac for 2025 alongside Furman Aldeguer, that'll be a mean team, and
he'll be all right.
And he'll still be on he'll
be on a factory.
He'll probably be on a factory bike, but not a factory colors. But I don't think either way Marquez is not going to lose. I think if Jorge, and I'm not saying this is the reason why Jorge Martin should get the seat, but I think if he doesn't get the seat, I think it'll be bad. It doesn't. For me, it'll be bad blood, because I think everybody can look at it and said he deserved it last year. He didn't get it.
Right, he didn't get it last year. He did deserve it last year. He didn't get it right.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't get it. I mean, in a sense, he deserved to get it for 2025, not necessarily for 24, because Bastianini had the contract, so you really can't.
Contract, right.
You know what I'm saying? But they could have signed him from last year and said, "Hey, we'll take you in 25," but they haven't signed him yet, right? And I think they wanted to give Bastianini the chance to not to have that kind of pressure on him. You know what I mean? But I think the pressure is already there, because it's all in the media and stuff like that. So I think it'd be bad if Martin doesn't get it. If they give it to Marquez, like you say, it's not a question if he deserves it or not, as far as his riding skills, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's a question there, but definitely. If Jorge Martin doesn't get that seat, he's leaving Ducati. Right? It's fair to say if Marquez doesn't get the factory seat, he's staying with Ducati. And I think for Bastianini, I don't know if another Ducati team offered him a seat, he probably would stay with Ducati. I don't know how much animosity he has, because he's somewhat responsible for his own demise when he took himself out and other people last year. And he was out for the season. Granted, people took him out before that, so you know what I'm saying. Nonetheless, at least he knows, like, okay, I screwed up last year. I'm where I am. You know what I mean? That type of thing. But I think for Martin, he's just said it publicly so much that at this point, I think he'll. It's you can see it in his press conferences and stuff like that. I don't want to put words in his mouth. But
you can see them. You just look at the body language. It's not the same.
Yeah, you can tell that he'll be really crushed if he doesn't get the factory seat at this point, because he's like, "What else do you want me to do?" Like,
what we want you to do is win it all. What we don't want you to do is to crumble by Marquez, because Marquez is right behind you, and he's pushing you. I mean, what we want you to do is win it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to you at this point. It's on the golden platter, right? You're the goat of the team.
Right. All right.
You're the big shebang, right?
Right.
So let's carry the culture across the line.
Okay.
But in your rearview mirror, you'll see 93. It's up to you, mate, what you want to do with it.
Fair enough. Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about the Aprilia guys. Obviously, Aleix won on Saturday. On Sunday, and he got pole position as well. Let's point that out as well. I believe he got pole, right? I got to double check now. Got me nervous. There's so much happening. He announced he's retiring. Like not just him. Let's talk about Vinales, the other Aprilia guys, because Raul Fernandez. He had one of the best weekends. He was leading the sprint and crashed out. Felt bad for him because this is like last round he rode really well. This round was one of his best rounds. I don't know if he's done enough yet to say, hey, I deserve to stay in Aprilia for next season. Vinales struggled and Oliveira, looked like he struggled a bit as well.
Right.
What do you think about those Aprilia guys? Not much.
I would love, looking at the standings there, I would love Aprilia to make a run for it. Aprilia is right there at Marquez. Right there at Martin, if you're looking at the times.
Right. And let me point out,
it would be nice to break up the Ducati 1, 2, 3.
Right.
And get an Aprilia in there and then push the factory, push Ducati to the next level.
Right. So
silently I'm an Aprilia guy because that's the underdog. It's the underdog.
Right.
KTM, I don't see. You get rid of, like we said last night, right? You get rid of the top 3, throw them out the window, right? It's Aprilia, Ducati, Aprilia. Right? Let's just start with the top 3.
Right. That's fair enough. Aprilia's got one of the best bikes out there.
One of the best bikes out there.
And at the moment, it seems to be more consistent than the KTM.
KTM is, no disrespect to KTM, but I don't see it. I don't see it.
Oh, it's
8th place.
It's it's shocking because I think the whole KTM team as a whole, I think they're shocked where they are. I don't think they believe Brad Bender crashing out as much as he's crashed out. Brad doesn't really crash. Right. Really, Miller's struggling, and maybe Miller was feeling it at first, and now whatever Miller was feeling, now Jack is feeling. Augusta Fernandez. Oh my goodness, I feel bad for him. He's a guy that probably is going to lose his seat. Also struggling, and the only person that's really riding that KTM. Let me just look where Brad finished, but he crashed out a bunch. But Pedro Acosta is the only one that's really, doing his thing. And, Brad finished 8th. Miller crashed out, right?
Right.
Miller crashed out. Augusta crashed out. And, so I don't think KTM thought they would be in the situation they're in at this early in the season. They show glimmer. Obviously, Pedro was on the podium on Saturday, and he's been on the podium before. Brad won a couple of second places as well, but as a whole, they seem to be struggling more this year. And their Aprilia, those guys are struggling. Like, okay, Aprilia, KTM, Yamaha, Honda, they're struggling.
I wouldn't even mention Honda. It looks like Honda's been struggling for the last 10 years.
Not quite.
All right, I mean, let's be honest.
Not quite.
It's been struggling. It's been struggling for the last 10 years.
Yeah. Well, some of the riders, probably since Danny Pedrosa left.
Right, and how many years is that?
I think 2017. I think maybe 16.
Right. So yeah. Remember, COVID was about 5 years ago. So
yeah.
2019. Yeah, so we're almost 10 years for.
But Marquez won a title, I think. I forget.
Right.
So after
16?
that, I got to double check his last title. But I feel like it was where was it? So 2020 was it Mir, then Quartararo? And then
that's why we need a producer on this show to be able to give us this information right in our ears.
Right, that's the next step, Shakes, is to get the producer to tell us where Marquez is. But nonetheless, yes, Honda has been struggling for some years now, and but like I said, I think KTM. I really thought they would have had a better season. I really thought Brad would have been more consistent. Right. And same thing, I know Miller struggled last year, but this year it's worse, and I don't know if it's the bike, right? We don't know if it's the bike, and we'll see how things go. But to see Brad would, he's usually a Sunday guy, so he may struggle, Friday, Saturday, but then on Sunday you would see him do his thing, and
it's a lights rider.
And
underneath the lights he goes.
Yeah, and so there's definitely some struggling going on there. So for KTM, I hope they don't blow that system up because their riders are struggling. And
right, they have two did no finishes, right?
Yeah. 3 on Sunday, 3 because Pedro crashed out too.
Right.
So Pedro and I believe Augusta Fernandez crashed out as well. And let's just see the race. Who crashed out? Fernandez and Miller crashed out. Pedro crashed out but remounted and finished 13th. So right behind Vinales. And so that's the struggle for KTM is real right now. I have to say I have to shout out Quartararo. He finished 9th in the race. I think the Honda boys, not the Honda, Yamaha boys are finding something here and there. It's not enough to sit here and say that.
What did you just say?
Quartararo, Yamaha.
Right.
He finished 9th.
Yamaha.
That's good.
Right. We can't talk about Yamaha on this channel. We really can't.
we're European only.
Right, like Yamaha. I mean, I
got a Yamaha right there, man. I mean,
B4 right there, and you got your 125.
I got my 220 TTR and my R6 right here. What do you mean?
Right,
I'm Team Yamaha.
Right, I know, and you
Team Ducati. I got KTMs too. I got 2 KTMs, 2 Yamahas, and 2 Ducatis.
Right. So let's go back to your Aprilia, right?
Yeah.
And then let's put the squeeze on Martin.
Uh-huh. Well, Martin is on Ducati, you know that. But go ahead. All right, go.
So now, if he has something in his head, so I'm looking at it right now, right? Aprilia is right there. Marquez is right there. And then you have Martin.
Right.
It's possible Martin could fall out of graces and Aprilia could get the 3rd spot and then Marquez get the 2nd. When you look at it.
You mean if Martin goes to Aprilia?
No, I'm talking about as it stands right now when we could get it looks like we could get Aprilia into the top 3.
Oh,
just if I'm looking at it right now.
I see what you're saying. Overall, I'll say this, right? I don't believe the Ducati riders have something enormous over the other manufacturers. And I say that because Bezzecchi on the Ducati is struggling. Di Giannantonio, even though he had this weekend, is struggling a bit. Alex Marquez is struggling. Morbidelli struggling.
He crashed out.
You know what I mean? And so, but then you look at the Aprilia guys, and like I said, they're the same thing. Like these guys, okay.
So if you look at Aprilia, right, we go 4, 5, 10, 12.
Right. The thing is this though, the 2 consistent riders is Aleix and Maverick, but they're inconsistent because like they'll be up front one weekend and the next weekend there's no
right,
and then they're back up front and then no. So and I think it's the bike. I think it's just the bike and certain tracks the bike just doesn't hook up well. I don't believe it's the riders because riders don't usually have those tendencies where, you know what I mean? So I think it's the bike. So for them, that's they're struggling and KTM is struggling. And obviously we can't mention, you don't want us to mention the 2 Japanese brands, but they're struggling. So you really have Pecco, Marc Marquez, Jorge Martin, Pedro Acosta. I mean, these are the 4 guys that are struggling the least amount. out of the whole field this whole season. Everyone else is dealing with their thing, and that's the thing that at the beginning of the season, I thought it would be like a top 10, 10 riders or whatever riders, a bunch of riders. I thought would be more, but realistically, when you're looking at it, it's Martin, Bezecchi, Marquez, and Acosta. And yes, Brad might come in, Vinales might come in, Aleix might come in. You know what I'm saying? Raul, who's starting to step up, but these guys come. They're just having a run for that weekend, and I didn't expect that. Even though MotoGP is still fun to watch, it's still really exciting and all that. I really thought that these other riders would be having better seasons unless they were crashing out, and in cases that they're not necessarily crashing out, something is the team, everything is not right yet.
So what I just did was I just changed my lights from factory to Valentino Rossi, right? So I have my Yamaha blue in the background.
All right. So
I have to show respect.
Okay, all right. I see that. There you go. So we'll get you a Yamaha T-shirt as well.
Oh, hold on.
You might have one of those too. Are you like Charles Barkley? In your shorts.
My underpants.
All right. Okay.
There we go.
You're switching brands a little bit too quick, but
Right, we don't know who's going to give us a sponsor. We don't know if the car's going to give us a sponsor or if Yamaha's going to give us a sponsor. So I just want to say respect to Valentino Rossi, what you've done, even though I was all over the Vizioso, but Yamaha Blue, got my Yamaha racing hat on.
All right.
Respect to Valentino Rossi, also to the dirtbag Chad Reed. Yeah.
There you go. Everything covered. We're in Mugello this weekend, and we're gonna find out, who's going to get that factory seat. Do you have any prediction as far as who's going to win the races? Do you think it's going to be any other than the top four we've been kind of talking about?
I'm gonna go on a limb, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to push Marquez to second, and I'm going to push Aprilia to third.
Okay.
Someone's got to put a little pressure on Martin, and that's me.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to go with Bagnaia, and I'm going to go with Bagnaia,
right,
Martin, and Marquez.
Right?
Yeah.
Come on.
You have to go with that. Yes,
we talked about the edge all night.
Yeah.
And you're going to go with him?
Yeah. There may be some Aprilias in the mix. There may be some other guys in the mix, but at the moment, you really have to put your money on those three guys. You can't, and Acosta as well. So I don't want to. He's in the mix, but I don't want to sit here and say he's a title contender, but he's in the mix. I will say, I've said it several times already, but like Morbidelli, Augusta Fernandez. Those guys might be in trouble for trying to get a seat for next year. You know what I mean? I think Raul did a really good job with Aprilia this weekend, and KTM. I don't know how many of those guys might be safe next year. Maybe Brad Bender because he has a contract, and Acosta. For these riders, they really gonna have to start. They don't necessarily have to win races, but they got to be sure that they're more competitive.
Costa's only five points behind the Aprilia.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ducati. So Acosta could make a run.
He could make
still early.
He could make a run, but I don't think so. I think that
you think the bike is toast.
No. I just think there's Marquez, Jorge Martin, and Pecco Bagnaia in front of him. I think if those guys are healthy, Acosta is going to have to race a perfect race for the races for the rest of the season.
The rest of
And I don't, one, he doesn't need to win a title as a rookie. He doesn't have anything to prove. It'd be nice for bragging rights, but he has nothing to prove. So realistically, and I say that to say he doesn't have the experience yet. He has the skills, but he doesn't have the experience yet. And to win championships, you can have the skill, but you need the experience, or you need people with experience around you. And we see that in the NBA. We saw that with the playoffs, some of the playoffs and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I'm not sitting here saying he can't win it, but I think there's guys in front of him that got the experience, and that's going to make it hard this year. Next year, he's going to have more experience.
We'll say I'm going to put a little pressure on Marte, and I'm waiting for the Aprilia to overthrow the Ducati this week.
Mm-hmm.
I live on the edge. Everybody's living on the edge, right?
You got to. Well, how else are you going to do it?
Right. Aprilia's in third place. Martin drops out of it.
No doubt. I mean, I can't wait. I'm very excited about it. We shall see what the predictions look like. Go to Rexy45 at YouTube. Answer the poll questions. Let's see if Bobby Shakes is right. We shall see. I want to thank everyone for the subscriptions, for getting us over 20K. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Definitely thank everyone. Continue to like and subscribe, comment, tell us what we're doing, what we're not doing. I want to shout out to the sponsors, Workbench Tech. Go to workbenchtech.com. Get your IT solution. Anything you need, go to hamptonyards.com. Get your latest HY gear. Bobby Shakes, tell the folks how they can connect with you and find out all about those shorts of yours.
ShakesIsLive.com. Very simple.
Very simple.
Don't really do the Instagram thing, but if you're interested in social media, you can find me at Bobby Shakes on anything. Xbox, PlayStation, Twitters, Instagrams, Facebooks, Black Planets, MySpace, Tinder, Bumble. Doesn't matter.
Bobby Shakes is to the world. Bobby Shakes to the world. To the world. My name is Rex45. I want to thank everybody.
Cheers, mates.
Cheers. Peace.